Well, hello. We are back with our Treasure Hunters book, and we are going to jump right back in at chapter 35. So here we go. Eureka, cried Uncle Richie. Well done, Bick. We need to start digging. Well, where? asked Tommy eagerly. We'll burrow out a trench between these two pines. Break up the roots and rocks with the pry bar, Tommy. Bick, Beck, you handle the first shift on the shovels. Good idea, said Storm. She's not big on manual labor, prefers brain work to brawn work. Tommy pried out the rocks and roots that Beck and I dug. And we dug. Those hounds in the distance, that's right, the howling had gone plural. Plus, they sounded closer. So I'm going to show you a picture. You can see that. After 30 minutes, Tommy and Uncle Richie took over on the digging. Beck and I took turns slamming the pry bar. Mrs. Johnston cheered us on. Storm worked on her pine cone collection. 30 minutes passed. Beck and I were back on shovel duty. Mrs. Johnston had started breaking rocks. Uncle Richie and Tommy were squeezing the sweat out of their shirts. Storm was stacking her pine cones into a pretty nifty-looking pyramid. Our trench was 10 feet long, 3 feet deep, and so far, empty. Except for rocks and roots and rusty soda pop can from the late 1980s. Maybe Bick was right. No, maybe Bick was wrong, suggested Storm. Maybe those weren't the two trees. Jah, said Tommy. Although all this shoveling and prime bar slamming has totally pumped up my guns. He flexed his arm muscles for Mrs. Johnson. She just rolled her eyes. I scooped up another load of dirt, and the next time I sank my shovel into the ground, I felt something. Soft, mushy, and it ripped wide open. And then I heard a clink, 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 tinkle. The kind of sound gold coins make when they tumble out of a torn burlap sack that's been rotting in the ground for nearly 100 years. Beck and I dropped to our knees and scraped away more dirt by hand, and pretty soon we saw all gold coins, jewelry, fancy candlesticks, silverware, the kind made out of real silver. It's Mosby's treasure, shouted Beck. Quick, someone take a picture. The enlightened ones wanted photographic evidence of our treasure find. Tommy knelt down and snapped several photos, and then he grabbed a couple thumbs-up selfies with the pile of pirate booty in the background. How much gold is that? asked Mrs. Johnston, grabbing a snapshot with her cell phone also. A ton, I said. Storm quickly corrected me. That doesn't look like 2,000 pounds of gold and merchandise, Vic. Well, you said all this stuff was worth $350,000 back in the day, which would be $5.5 million today. If you ask me, that's a ton. Uncle Richie scooped up a handful of coins and he examined them. 1861, Liberty Head Doubles Eagles, minted with gold from the California Gold Rush. Each coin was worth $20 at the dawn of Civil War. Now you could melt one down and sell its gold for more than $1,000. Or you could sell it to the collector for 10 times that amount. But nothing is more valuable than this lady, circled by 13 stars, Miss Liberty herself. She is what the boys in blue were fighting for. Liberty, freedom, America. Mrs. Johnson applauded slowly. Nice speech, Poppy. But don't forget our deal. I'm still selling my third of that loot. As you wish, Pamela, as you wish. It's just that sometimes we true treasure hunters are more momentarily overwhelmed by the historical. He didn't get to finish his thought, though. In all the excitement about digging up buried treasure, we sort of stopped paying attention to all the sounds in the distance, like the baying of the bloodhounds, and now the pounding of horses' hooves. It was like a nighttime fox hunt was underway in the forest of Virginia, and we were the foxes being hunted. Uh-oh. I think we're in for some trouble. We're now starting chapter 36. The hounds arrived at our treasure ditch first. They were yapping and barking and wolfing like crazy. The horses and riders showed up like 10 seconds later. There were 4 of them carrying torches, decked out in Confederate cavalry uniforms and looking extremely scary. Except for the leader. I'm sorry. The guy was maybe 5 feet tall and nearly bounced out of his saddle when the horse came galloping through the trees. He was also wearing a red jacket, white pants, and a tiny black helmet that fox hunters wear in oil paintings. Whoa! The leader of the night riders cried out, tugging back hard on his reins. I said, whoa! Stop! Quit walking, horse! A picture of what's going on. Then the horse ignored him and started prancing around in circles while making slobbery lip fart noises and flapping its fly swatter of a tail. One of the other raiders reached over and yanked back on the leader's reins, trying to settle the boss's horse. But he leaned in, he dipped his flaming torch right in front of the horse's face, and he spooked that horse, which spooked all of the other horses. Are you an idiot, Beauregard? Shouted the tiny leader, hanging onto his helmet as his frightened steed tried to buck him out of the saddle. How much am I paying you, idiots? Who you calling an idiot? Said the night rider, twirling his torch menacingly, which spooked the horses even more. Stand back, everybody, advised Uncle Richie. This might be the gentleman in the Red's first pony ride. As the horses bucked, all the torches started bobbing up and down, creating quite a fiery light show, which none of the horses seemed to be enjoying. They reared up on their hind legs, they kicked with their front hooves, and they neighed in terror. And that made the dogs start howling, which scared the horses even more. I looked at Beck. She looked at me. We both shook our heads. Let me show you the next picture. There we go. We've encountered a lot of bad guys on this treasure hunting adventure. So far, these guys were the lamest. While the riders coaxed their horses, Tommy tried nonchalantly to block everybody's view of our unburied treasure sitting right there, scattered in the ditch. Easy, boy, said the leader. That's a girl, said one of the riders. Easy, girl. Might I suggest you douse your torches, said Uncle Richie, trying to be helpful. Horses don't like fire. Well, neither do we, said Storm. Fine, whatever, said the leader. Dump the torches in the ditch, you idiots. Torches were tossed right into our pit, and before they extinguished, they cast a flickering orange light on the glittering pile of gold and silver. Well, well, well. Would you look at that? I believe you have uncovered my treasure for me. Excuse me, said Storm. What makes you think any of our backbreaking manual labor was done for you? Oh, allow me to introduce myself, said the little man, sliding sideways in his saddle and easing himself slowly to the ground. When he finally did, he adjusted all his fancy riding clothes to make certain they still looked fancy. My name is Milton T. Mosby, formerly from the Minnetonka, Minnesota area. Mosby? Like in Mosby's Raiders? That's right. Little man, Colonel John Mosby was my great, 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 great uncle. And that treasure down there? That's Mosby's treasure. That means it's mine. And that is the end of chapter 36. I think we have a problem here. I wonder how it's going to be solved. You're going to have to listen to the next chapter to find out. So, thank you for joining today. And I look forward to seeing you back for chapter 37. And we'll find out what happens. It's going to get good. See you later. Bye-bye.